Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where is tears. You just know how I love to drink down the tears. So many tears right now. Oh, it's sad. It's sad. But what are you gonna do? Grab a glass. Drink some tears. So I think this is kind of curious, something for my viewers to think about. Again, right? I talk about this. I do one-on-one, or I've done many one-on-one consulting sessions. I've talked with a lot of my students over the years. And the thing is, I am more than happy to explain to you basically how to solve problems, how to dissect a problem and to solve it, how to figure out what stack to use in order to solve your problem, how to figure out value adds so you can try to charge your customers, your clients more money, right? I am willing to do all of that. But here's the thing, that's not what anybody wants. That's not what anybody wants, right? What I find funny is people won't shut up about passion. They won't shut the fuck up about passion. Passion, 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 right? I think passion is stupid. Passion is what slave owners use to try to keep their slaves in check. That's my consider. Oh, what? You're not passionate to make your CEO $1 billion? Well, I guess you're not the right type of person for this company. But anyways, right? I just hear all of this crap. For 10 years, I get beat over the head by noob pieces of crap talking about passion. Oh, what's wrong with this boomer? He's not passionate about technology. But the funny thing is, I will sit down and I will spend out. I have spent up to 3 hours with individual people walking through God knows how much stuff. But most people, they talk about passion, but at the end of the day, all they want is a job. Job. Okay, well, let's figure out what problems you want to solve. Job. Okay, let's figure out what kind of career that you would like to be, where you would like to be in 5 years. Job. Okay, let's figure out, like, what are you willing to iterate 1,000 times, right? You know, like writing code is fine once or twice, but what do you want to do, like, day in and day out for years? Job, Eli. Yeah, I wonder why I'm a bitter boomer. I have no idea what made me a bitter boomer. Well, anyways, I find this interesting. I find what's currently going on, because we've had over the past, again, about 10 years, the tech market and the job market in the tech world has been driven more by 1% interest rates than it was for actually doing anything useful. And so it's interesting to see everything blow apart and explode. And apparently it's exploding even more because of AI. Sure, we'll say it's AI, because everything gets blamed on AI. AI adoption, this is coming from CNBC, AI adoption linked to 13% decline in jobs for young US workers, Stanford study reveals. 13% decline for young US workers. You're coming out of college with a $100,000 loan? Well, you might get a job at Chipotle. And I know this is oh, Eli, that's mean. That's mean. Oh, motherfucker, you know what's mean? I remember a time when I had a college degree, I had my military experience, I had my MCSE, my Avaya, had built $500,000 server rooms, and I got laid off of fucking pizza delivery. I remember those days. But anyways, reality to the kids is mean. Your skills aren't fucking valuable. This has nothing to do with capitalism and has a hell of a lot to do with your very bad decisions. Why did you go $100,000 into debt for a dumbass degree? But anyways, You can't tell that to the kids. There is growing evidence that widespread adoption of generative AI is impacting the job prospects of American workers, according to a paper released on Tuesday by 3 Stanford University researchers. The study analyzed payroll records from millions of American workers generated by ADP, the largest payroll software firm in the US. I actually like this when they talk about this because they're talking about ADP. So a lot of times when you hear about numbers, right, especially job numbers, whether they're up, they're down, whether it's Biden or whether it's Trump or whether it's whoever the fuck else we have, right? They're like government numbers, and government numbers are so weird. Government numbers are just, they're always weird. Again, under Biden or Trump, government numbers are weird. 1, how do they actually come up with the numbers? 2, what do the numbers actually mean? And 3, the numbers get revised months later. So you think you have a set of numbers, you're like, these are the numbers. And then 3 months later, all the numbers change. The nice thing was ADP. So if you haven't used ADP, I used ADP back in the day. I don't know whether it's still good. I would probably use ADP if I had employees again. The good thing with ADP is basically they are a payroll processor, right? You pay them however much, it's like $100 per payroll or whatever it is nowadays. You pay them basically to do your payroll. Right? You plug in everybody's numbers, their salary, how many hours they worked or whatever else. You add on things like insurance and all of the other kind of stuff. And basically what happens is they say, this is how much you owe. You dump that into your account and then they send out the checks or they direct deposit or whatever else. They do the payroll for you. I'm telling you, as a real fucking entrepreneur, use ADP. Use ADP. They do not sponsor me. I learned that after I got fined by the IRS. IRS fines are not a fucking joke. ADP is cheaper. Anyways, but the good part about this is a private company and they collect all of this information. So a lot of times when you're dealing with ADP data, I would argue it is more trustworthy than the government. Whoever is in office, I would rather trust ADP data than the government data. The report found, quote, early large-scale evidence consistent with the hypothesis that the AI revolution is beginning to have a significant and disproportionate impact on entry-level workers in the American labor market. Most notably, the findings revealed that workers between the ages of 22 and 25 in jobs most exposed to AI, such as customer service, accounting, and software development, have seen a 13% decline in employment since 2022. By contrast, employment for more experienced workers in the same fields and for workers of all ages in less exposed occupations, such as nursing aides, has stayed steady or grown. Jobs for young health aides, for example, rose faster than their older counterparts. That's the other thing to be thinking about when you want this whole jobs thing, jobs. Go meet people, talk with people, understand what the job market looks like in your geographic area, right? Because one of the problems we get to, again, whether it's Biden or whether it's Trump or Obama or Bush, they talk about things like jobs numbers, and especially they'll talk about like the national, right? The national jobs number is, that doesn't mean anything to you. That doesn't mean anything to you. A national jobs number, whether you're in Baltimore or whether you're in San Francisco or whether you're in Asheville, North Carolina, that national number doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot to the average person, right? If you're an investor, it matters. If you're a business owner and you're thinking about, where to position yourself in the future, that probably matters. If you're a normal jackass employee, those numbers really don't matter a lot, right? West Virginia, where my family is from. My family has been in West Virginia since long before the Civil War. I don't care what administration is in office. It's going to be an economic disaster in West Virginia. Right? I don't care if the unemployment rate for the entire country is 1%. Eli, the unemployment rate in the entire country is 1%. Yeah, well, in West Virginia, it's going to be about 50%. It's just how fucking West Virginia works. God bless. I love it. It should be a beautiful national park. Turn it into a national park. Anyways. The important thing to understand, it is different. And so that's one of the things to be concerned about now, right, is, we're having a shift. We're having a shift in what skills are valuable versus what skills are not valuable. And so the people that are going to be getting jobs may be different types of people than we're getting jobs before. So even if the unemployment rate stays about the same, how things start to skew may be majorly different, right? We need fewer computer programmers, and we need more people to run pipe and electricity and that type of thing. Let's see here. The study sought to rule out factors that could skew the data, including education level, remote work, outsourced jobs, and broader economic shifts, which could impact hiring decisions. According to the Stanford study, their findings may explain why national employment growth for young workers has been stagnant, while overall employment has largely remained resilient since the global pandemic, despite the recent signs of softening. Young workers were said to be especially vulnerable because AI can replace, quote, codified knowledge or book learning that comes from formal education. On the other hand, AI may be less capable of replacing knowledge that comes from years of experience. And I think that's going to be one of the big problems we have for the young people nowadays, is they have been getting jobs off of book work, right? Back in the old days, we had to actually build shit. We actually had to build crap and bring value to the company, right? What is your job here? That whole question type of thing. I think what's kind of interesting, right, over the past decade or so, especially if you've been in the tech world, all you've had to do is you've had to go get your piece of paper to say that you know something about databases or front end or React or whatever else, and that has been able to get you a job. The issue then becomes is we get to this world where you actually need to start bringing profit to the company, right? I talk about that like people that work at profit centers. So profit centers in a company basically are the parts of the company that are supposed to bring money in, right? Essentially, you should be making 4x whatever your salary is, right? So if you're a coder in a development company and you make $100,000 a year, you should be bringing in $400,000 to that company. More or less. It gets squiggly once you start getting those numbers that large. But let's just go with that, right? The idea being is there's a whole bunch of cost centers. So, hey, you know the people that rack the servers? You know the people that run the cable? You know the people that actually make the business like be able to function? Yeah, we're called cost centers. And we are looked down upon because we don't actually bring money into the company. They have to spend money on us, right? Anyways, I was told by one of my first MCSE instructor, he said with IPv6, he was like, IT will start being considered a profit center about the time that we all migrate to IPv6, which, it's 25 years later. And sounds very correct, but not in the reasons that he thought it would be. Anyways, right? So if you're a profit center for the company, you need to bring in 4x so you can pay for the cost centers. So you can pay for the secretaries, you can pay for the toilet paper and the janitors and all the other accoutrements that allow you to do your work, essentially the support services. The issue that I've seen, over the past 10 years is that the people working in the technology world have less and less understanding of what their businesses even do and how they bring value to the company. It's really interesting being here in Asheville. So Asheville is the first place I've really been around tech employees in a long time. So normally I'm around, the CEOs, CIOs, executives, founders, entrepreneurs, that type of thing. So tech, but more that tech leader type of deal. What's interesting coming here to Asheville is we have so many remote workers, highly qualified remote workers, incredibly well paid remote workers, but still remote workers at the end of the day. And what's fascinating, like I'll go to the bar or whatever, I do the pub runs, we have a lot of technology professionals there. And, with everything going on with the economy, I'll ask these people, again, making well into the six figures, I'll be like, oh yeah, so what does your company do? And then they'll just give me a very fun, like a weird response, like okay, and then again, with what's going on in the company, okay, so what's the main product, what's the main revenue driver for your company? And what's amazing is how many of these highly paid technology professionals have zero fucking clue how their company makes money. Does not bode well. And so I think that's one of the big issues that's coming down the pike, especially for the young people, is that there's been this mindset that you don't have to understand the company. You don't have to understand how the company makes money and all that kind of stuff. You can simply get these pieces of paper, go directly into a high-paying job, and then you'll be successful. And that's changing because again, we put a rocket onto the turkey of the tech industry, and it's been sailing along for the past decade, but it doesn't mean that turkey is flying. It is going to hit the ground. The thing that you'll hear here is they're talking about who is valuable to the companies and who are not valuable to companies. And the big thing that comes up, right? AI may be less capable of replacing knowledge that comes from years of experience. What is the thing that I've been trying to bang into your folks' heads for years and years and years and years, right? Are we going up to 17 years? No, so I'm 16 years. So I started my YouTube channel like in September of 2009, which is basically when I started the Everyman IT, the business for doing tech education for 16 years. What I've been trying to bang into people's head. Build, 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 build. Fix your grandma's computer. Go to your church and fix their computers. Go to your temple and build websites. Go and support people. Do. As I've said before, when you're dealing with Windows, right? Fixing your grandma's Windows computer is basically the same damn thing as fixing a CEO's Windows computer. The only difference is you got a whole domain and stuff that goes on top of it, right? But the basic repair and interaction process is going to be the same. Go out there and get experience. What do you need to do? What do you need to do today? You need to go out and you need to fix problems today. If you don't know somebody else's problem to fix your own damn problems. Look at the technology that you have laying around and ask yourself, how can I improve what I currently have? How can I fix a system that's been dead for a year or whatever else? What can I do? Because it's the experience, right? Because these AI systems are basically book learning. It's literally book learning, right? When you actually look at tokens and what's going on, it's just statistical relationships between tokens. A token is a word, a part of a word of a symbol. And so basically statistically, how are these things supposed to go together? And that's what LLMs essentially do. Very dumbed down thing, right? So basically what AI is doing the book learning stuff. So what is valuable? What's valuable is the experience. What's valuable is walking up and going, oh, I know what this problem is. I think about this with when I fixed desktop computers, right? The first time I dealt with a desktop computer that had died from secondhand smoke. True story. God, this was disgusting. Anyway, so I went to these clients' house. I fixed their computer. So I fixed their first computer. And, that was fine. It was still when I was still, new to doing the cool consulting thing. I was just trying to make money to buy beer. Anyways, and they said, oh, you did so good with that. We have this other computer, right? It's pretty new. It's less than a year old or whatever, but it just died. We haven't been able to make it work, the whole 9 yards. And so I was still in that phase of I just need to do work. So I said, look, I'll take the computer from you and I'll try to fix it. If I fix it, you pay me. If I don't fix it, they said, okay, fine, right? So I took it home, and it was glitchy as hell. It was weird glitchy. Like the cursor would, the mouse would move, but then would stop moving, then it would jump across the screen. All kinds of like weird shit. It was like fucking like phantasm shit, like Ghost in the Machine shit going on. Like what the hell? So I was like, oh, it's a virus or malware. So I tried to run antivirus and anti-malware. Couldn't get that to run because it was all quirky as hell. Anyways, I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, what the fuck's going on with this? What's going on with this? And I'm looking at it. And then I look at the CPU fan. And it just doesn't look quite the right color. Right, because the CPU, or not the CPU, but the heat sink, right? I'm looking at where the fan is, the heat sink. And it's not gummed up. It doesn't have a lot of hair or anything else in it. It just doesn't look right. Like you look at it and it's just, the aluminum color looks off. Like it should look aluminum. And it just had kind of like this brownish color to the aluminum. I was like, I couldn't figure out any other solution. Anyway, so I pop off the CPU fan, I pop off the heat sink, and I look at it. And yeah, it just has this brownness to it. So that's weird. So I get some Dawn, put it on the heat sink, wash that heat sink up so it gets a nice silver color. Just this crap comes out of it. Anyways, put it back. Boop. That computer worked flawlessly. That house was full of smokers, and that brown shit that came off the heatsink was literally from secondhand. That was the tar from smoke. If you're like, how bad is smoking for me? Really? It's really fucking bad for you. Anyways, so literally, but that was experience. And so as I was going around in Baltimore, because again, when you're in Baltimore, A lot of people, either they don't have air conditioning or maybe they don't have the best air conditioning. So I would go into very expensive houses, but the air conditioning system wouldn't necessarily be very good. So if you had a desktop computer and the ventilation wasn't working 100%, right? Maybe something got gummed up or whatever, you'd have a lot of these quirky problems. And so as soon as I'd see the mouse jump around, or I'd be like, oh, this is a heat problem, I go in, man, and a lot of them were fucking vacuum cleaners, right? Because especially in Baltimore, it's a lot of hardwood floors, and so people have pets, right? So you have these desktop computers that sit on the floor, and they're basically just fans. They're just vacuum cleaners all day. Hair gets in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All of a sudden, like, oh, this is a weird problem. Let me pop the front panel off of the computer, and it would just be caked with hair and crap and all that. Clean that shit out. Computer works perfectly. I make my $100 for about 6 minutes worth of work, right? And so that's one of the reasons why experience is so important. And that's what I'm telling, look, you can keep calling me a dumbass boomer. Look, you have every right, and for God's sakes, you have every fucking ability to call me a stupid piece of shit, dumbass boomer that doesn't understand how good I had it back in the fucking 90s. You do understand I came of age in the fucking 90s, not in the 1960s, you dipshits. But anyways, right? You can do that. But here's the reality. Here's the reality. What is valuable as a technology professional is the experience doing it, because it's so many tiny skills you learn. It's so many things where you go, I've either seen this specific problem before, or by God, I've seen something that's really fucking close to this problem. I have an idea where to start, right? And that's the kind of stuff that AI is not going to be able to solve for, and the whole 9 yards, right? When you're dealing with users, for Christ's sakes, when you're dealing with what the fuck is wrong with users? Users are fucking stupid and crazy all at the same time, right? And that's the thing, right? You can use Cursor. You can use Cursor to come up with some React fucking UI for your thing, right? But it's not going to understand how your users expect systems to work, right? Your users expect systems to work in a specific way. And if you're not used to those systems, right, because you may be used to repairing the database server, you may be used to installing the client on the front end and that type of thing, but many times you're not used to actually interacting with the actual piece of software itself. And one of the things that you find is that your users are going to be used to interacting with systems in a very particular way, right? It is not simply about a button existing on the page. It's the button needs to exist where the user thinks the button should exist, even if you think that's the stupidest fucking place in the world to put a button. Here's the thing, you got 100 employees and they all think the button should be here, fucking put the button there. Right? But that's what you get out of experience. And that's why you need to fix your grandma's computer. And that's why you need to go to your church or your temple or your synagogue or whatever else, talk with the community groups there, ask them who needs a website built, and build websites for them. Once you've then done that, be like, hey, wouldn't you like to be able to track your users? Let me build you a simple web app management system. And you're gonna sit there and you're gonna spend a fucking week building this really cool web app management system, and then you're going to hand it over to the user, and they're gonna be like, I just don't understand. I mean, thank you. I really appreciate that you built this. I just don't understand how it works. And you're like, what do you mean you don't understand? There's 3 fucking buttons. Here's the 3 button. Press the 3 button. Blech. What don't you understand? And then you're going to go through the process to understand what the user doesn't fucking understand. What they don't understand is going to be some really stupid shit, right? And anyways, you're going to learn that by doing something. This is why you need to volunteer to do tech work. This is why you need to intern to do tech work. This is why you need to fix your grandma's computer and whatever else, right? If you're so fucking passionate, about this profession, fucking do the work. And then the money does actually, in fact, follow. But anyways, what do I know? I'm just a burnout, cranky boomer, and nobody can figure out I don't understand what happened to Eli. You know Eli, yeah, Eli did these videos, he was like happy and smiling all the time. You know what happened? I started interacting with my viewers. Yeah, he was, whenever he did videos, like before 2012, Eli, the computer guy, was like so happy when he did his videos. And like after 2012, he's got kind of snarky and mean. What happened? Interacting with my viewers, dude. Interacting with my viewers. So anyways, this is just something, again, if you want to be in this field, if you want to be successful, is it right? Is it fair? As a very old, very white man once told me, Eli, I'm not saying it's a good system, Eli. I'm saying it's the system that we have. And that is all I can offer you, right? I don't know. Should you have to do free labor to get experience so that you will get hired? I don't know, right? Should you be forced to go out and find these problems and do all these things in order to get a job? I don't know. But here's the reality. That's what was required 20 years ago, and that's only going to be more and more required now. If you just have shitty ass bookwork knowledge, if literally, if the only thing that you can bring to the table is something that an LLM can replicate, why the hell do you think you're gonna be hired? So anyways, there you go. Oh, did I get enough tears? Give me the tears. The thing is, the funny part about this is why I get so mean with it. I'm actually giving you a hopeful story. I'm telling you, when I got laid off of pizza delivery, which was before I became a consultant and then had a company with 9 employees, before I got to YouTube and have 1 million+ subscribers, before a lot of amazing things have happened, right? Look, these are just the events that are occurring. These are the events that are occurring when you go out to get hired. You're just a product. You are literally just a product that your boss is purchasing, right? If you go to a restaurant, if you're hungry and you go to a restaurant and the restaurant isn't serving anything that you want to eat, you're not going to buy from the fucking restaurant, right? Oh, is that the downfall of late stage capitalism? Right? It's not fucking late stage capitalism. It's just you looked at their fucking menu. You didn't want the shit on the menu. Ergo, you didn't buy their shit. Hey, if you want me to buy food at this restaurant, have a fucking hamburger. Hamburger and tater tots. I'm really simple. Good hamburger, good tater tots. I will buy that all day, right? If on the other hand, it's some like God knows what place out there, I'm not going to buy the food, right? That's not late stage capitalism. That's literally just capitalism. And that's what I see with so many folks out there right now is they don't have any value for these companies, right? They literally, it's not the company's fault that you spent $100,000 on a garbage degree. Why as a boss should I be quote unquote required to hire you because you didn't even get skills? You just got a piece of paper. You coasted through 4 years of school, not getting any skills that's valuable for anybody, but coming out with a $100,000 degree. But somehow, when the employers don't want to hire, oh, that's late stage capitalism. No, you made bad decisions. But anyways, go out there, solve problems, start talking to me. Hey, can I talk with you? I'm just curious. What problems do you have? What problems do you have that maybe technology can solve? Maybe they need a website. Maybe they need a web app. Maybe they need to learn how to use iTunes. Apparently, nobody will shut up about that. Every time I talk about Silicon Valley, true story. Many places. Every time I was just in Austin, right? And I was talking to the head of the AITX meetup. Good guy. Anyways, his brother or whatever does like tech education. And he's like, oh yeah, he's doing really good. Like teaching old people, like iTunes. But for the love of fucking God, I'm not teaching old people iTunes. Fuck that. fuck that. I would rather flip fucking burgers than teach an old motherfucker how to use iTunes. Let me be very explicit with that. But here's the point. There seems to be a lot of demand for teaching old people iTunes. So if you go out there and you talk with folks, you might realize people need something that you're able to offer, right? Again, with this AI world, how can you create an AI-powered company, right, as a consultant to deliver more value, right? Hey, look, you can hire me for $150 an hour and fire 10 of your employees. You do understand that's how our profession works. You do get that's how, when we talk about efficiency, that's what efficiency means. You hire me for a lot of money means you get to eliminate their jobs. I know you're not supposed to say that kind of thing, but it's how it all works. Anyways, those are some thoughts. What do you think about this? What do you think about 13% decline in young U.S. workers? What do you think about all these young U.S. Folks coming out of colleges basically being fucking worthless? Can you imagine being fucking worthless with a $100,000 degree? Again, no wonder they're pissed off. I talk about that with young black guys in Baltimore. I lived in Baltimore for years. I completely understand why the young black guys in Baltimore are pissed off, right? You get a piece of shit education in Baltimore, right? I forget, it's only like 60, it's like the high school graduation rate back in the day was only 60%. Only 60% of the folks that went to a Baltimore City high school actually graduated. And some of them, there was literally a girl that was suing the Baltimore City education system because she graduated high school being illiterate. She literally was illiterate. And they shoved her ass out of high school and said that she graduated, right? Anyways, you got the crime, you got all that kind of stuff. And yeah, as I've said, I understand why young black men are pissed off, right? If you actually go into Baltimore City and you ask questions and listen to the responses, it's not exactly shocking why these young folks are pissed the ever-loving fuck off, right? The question is what do you do with it, right? My issue, what I say is, I don't think this is going to get you down the path you want to get down, right? But anyways, I do think that's kind of interesting with the young folks now coming out with their college degrees, is I understand why you're pissed off, right? You spent 4 years, you spent 4 years prostate to the higher mind to get your college degree. And you came out with $100,000 in debt and no fucking useful skills. You might be useless. You might have less use now than you did 4 years ago. I get why you're pissed off. You have every right to be angry. Here's a question. What are you going to do? Are you going to cry? You going to cry? You going to blow snot bubbles? You going to talk about, this is late stage capitalism? Or are you going to do what needs to get done? You're going to do what needs to get done. You need to go out and get experience. You need to help people. That is what we do at the end of the day. Technology professionals help people using technology. But anyways, as I say, when I started my I did not start a consulting company. Literally, I mean, and this is the real world, right? I had my honorable discharge from the U.S. Army. I went through one of the longest I went through 900 hours of training just for AIT, not including basic training, right? Did all of that. I had my college degree. I had my MCSE. I had all of that. When I became a consultant, this is true. This was a 2002 or something like that. Anyways, I had to rent a room for $300 a month that was on the edge of the ghetto. And when I say the edge of the ghetto in Baltimore, that means I walked my landlady's dogs like 2 blocks in from where we were. Literally, I had a nice old black man look me square in the eye and say, "You lost?" Motherfucker literally asked if I was lost simply because I was taking dogs on a walk. Anyways, I was living there. My entertainment was a $10 gallon bottle of vodka. I would buy my gallon bottle of vodka at the beginning of the week, and that was my fucking entertainment. I was literally working at Mercy Hospital as a $10 an hour temporary fucking file clerk. With a degree, with Army, with certifications, with all this shit. Only like a year earlier, people would look at me as like, oh, you're gonna retire in 5 years, right? Anyways, didn't know what the fuck to do. So what did I do? I met that guy Adolfo I talk about every once in a while. It's like, well, maybe I'll put up some pull tab signs, right? If I put up some pull tab signs, I say I'll charge $50 an hour. Again, this wasn't a business. I wasn't becoming a consultant. This wasn't a business. This was just like, hey, maybe I can buy some decent beer. Maybe I can go and actually buy a pint of decent beer instead of this rot gut vodka, right? Anyways, I put up these little signs, $50 an hour for computer repair. Literally, not a joke. Started within 30 days. Within 30 days, right? I quit my Mercy Hospital job because I was making more money doing this repair work than I was working at Mercy Hospital. And then, I was able to get my own apartment again, and then I was able to shop in Whole Foods. Like within 3 months. Like within 3 months of putting up these fucking pull tab signs, I was literally back shopping at Whole Foods. And yeah, and that's the thing. You've got to do what is actually valuable. In order to figure that out, you've got to go out there and try. And that's the hopeful. That's the hopeful. You can do better. You have every ability to do better. It is your fucking decision about whether you're going to go out there and try to do it or whether you're going to blow snot bubbles. I'm not saying it's going to be better tomorrow. Again, I'm not telling you my story, right? I'm not telling you you're going to follow my story. God bless, 1 month, 1 month to become a consultant's a good way to go. I'm not saying that's going to happen. But that's the kind of thing that you've got to do. Anyways, with that, I've got some other stuff to do. So what is it? What do I tell you guys? I don't know. Leave your thoughts below. What do you think about this? Leave your thoughts below. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. Call me amazing. Call me an over the hill cranky boomer, whatever. It's all a reaction as far as YouTube is concerned. Just do it down below. And with that, see y'all later.